Hello and welcome to a new painting stream. Glad to be back. Feels good, keeps me sane. Which is kind of ironic. Since this is probably going to be my last stream for a while. Thought there was going to be a few more, but schedules have moved up, and now my wife is going to be induced on Sunday, so I will be beginning the journey that is fatherhood. And so for a while, for a good while, I anticipate that I probably won't have time to stream, so I'll miss it, but I'll try to keep some hobbying going as I'm navigating these new waters. But yeah, exciting, and also excited for this stream. Not specifically for that reason, but among other things that, yeah, so. But as you might be able to guess, just from the nature of the situation, we've been very, very busy, and so I haven't really had hobby time since last week. And so the gargoyles are in pretty much the exact state we left them. Oh, these can be brought up a little bit. That will help with the lighting. There we go. So, last time I really just worked on the wings for the most part, but afterwards I went through and did a bit on some of the accent effects. So there are little flesh submachine guns and the mouth parts and stuff. So it's been a little progress made, and so we're gonna come back to them today. I think so. One of the things I wanted to do was I want to try using the sponge a little bit, see how that works on the wings. Because, you know, fortunately one of the things that I was planning for these guys was just to have a variety of different tones, or I guess I'm not sure what the color theory term is, but you know, different strengths for the blue on their wings. So there's lots of room to experiment there with that. So I'm going to try to do a little bit of the sponge on some of these guys who have the darker wings. Kind of create a... Because really what I've got for the most part is like these guys with super bright wings and these guys with dark ones. There's not much middle ground. So I'd like to create one or two guys who are sort of in the middle. Please don't run your mouth. Place in this haunted house. If our souls had been sown. And then depending on where we get with that, I will go through and start doing some of the black on their carapaces. But I'm gonna get into it right off with the sponge. I'm not 100% sure that I do the sponge technique right. I've used it in a couple of situations I'm trying to remember. Oh, the most recent one was those deck boxes I showed off in the last stream. And you know, it got the job done for that, but that's like it's not really the same level of an artistic endeavor. You know, I just basically painted them to look like rock or metal, so it's not very interesting. So I'm curious to see how it turns out with these guys. So I want to take it way down so there's no splotching. Okay, so I think part of the issue is this sponge has kind of been abused a lot already for the aforementioned deck box project. So it doesn't have a lot of soft surface left. It's kind of got some crustiness, which is gonna have a kind of a dramatic effect on the texture of these. So far that we can get by. All right. So it's not an ugly effect. It's definitely not what I was going for though. And it actually, so it seems to dry very quickly and it looks a million times better as it dries. So I'll say that for it. So I'm going to put sort of this lighter blue up towards the upper edge. And then I guess, I don't really know what the technique is for, not that, jeez. I was like, how do I clean this up afterwards? And wiping it is extremely destructive. I just rubbed a good portion off of this sponge, which isn't actually the worst thing, because now I guess it's kind of exposing the spot underneath that's a little softer. I don't know. I suppose I need to do some more research on the maintenance of these sponges. Oh, we have somebody checked in. Hello. Welcome. Hope you're having a good one. So all I'm gonna do now is go a step down from that blue, which was magic blue, if I remember right. Yes, magic blue. We're gonna go a step down to some imperial blue. And honestly, that's it. If it looks all right, that's all I want out of this little experiment. We'll just have a little two-tone medium glow for this guy, and we might try it on one other guy. There's only 10 guys in the squad. I always feel like, you know, gargoyles are great big squads, and they can be, but the box only comes with 10. So, right. So here is our imperial blue. Just sort of load up the sponge and then wipe it down a little bit on the other sponge. And dab it off. I don't think I really got enough. It's frustrating. I've got so much blue stuff though that it's hard to tell. My cleaning sponge is blue. My paper towel is blue. The paint that I'm using is blue. So it feels a little bit harsh dabbing on these guys. They feel a little bit more delicate, but I think that it's okay. And honestly, it does do a decent transition from light to dark. I think once I go over and do the black on the flesh parts, I think it'll work well. All right, we're gonna go with this guy next. Same deal. So grab some of that magic blue. Dab it a little clean. And I'm aiming higher up on the wing. Yeah, so this is what this is really good for, is hitting surfaces like edges and things, which makes it a challenge on these wings because there's the whole arm in the way, kind of. Which, you know, if you don't mind painting over that, that's not a problem, really. Oh, yes. It's very fast, but it catches the edges really, really well. And then all right, and then we go down to the Imperial Blue, wipe it down, dab some off, and hit it again just a little bit lower down. So on the surfaces that it hits, it really does transition pretty nicely. It's just a matter of it being kind of an imprecise tool. You have to be okay with the mess. And it's okay with these guys because, you know, in part they're, you know, horde guys. Nobody's really spending a lot of time looking at them. But also because it's pretty easy to go over these other areas and pick out different things. So I'm gonna leave those that way. And then we are going to, I don't think I mixed any water in here yet. We're gonna go in and do some work on their accents. So back to the electric blue. Gotta work kind of quick with that just because it seems to separate very quickly. One of these guys I was looking at, I only painted half of his gun. There we go. we got this side of it and not this side. So all right, we can afford to load the bush up a little bit more. And just let it loose in there. I don't really have a particular rhyme or reason for choosing which parts of the sort of Tyranid internals get this glow. For the gargoyles, I have ended up doing just both sides of the barrel and the magazine, and then these two parts on their hand. So that's where sort of their energy is concentrated. So a lot of these guys, I don't remember how many I got to. They already have this, but I'm going to go back over them a little bit, bring up the intensity a bit on the electric blue, and then when it comes time, we'll do sort of an additional highlight with a brighter, almost white, to really pick out detail. Although before that, a lot of these guys are going to need a pass with some black paint, because not all of them really got an equal portion of the primer, especially from this inner angle, which is usually how it goes. That area is just hard to get to, whether you're using an airbrush or a regular brush, paint can. Oh, I hadn't been doing that. I think I will though. So all of these little submachine guns have a little sort of bulb right here, which I usually see people paint it as though it's an eyeball, since all the Tyranid weapons are technically basically parasitic organisms. They're like separate Tyranids, and they're just fused together. So whenever a weapon has one of these oblong bulb things, people usually paint them as though they were eyes. So that's what that's gonna be. I feel like maybe I can afford to bring it down a little bit. Maybe make it a little bit more visible. There we go. All right, let's see. Are all three of these done? Yes, yes. Oh, is the thing on both sides? No, fortunately. Okay. I probably wouldn't bother even if it was. Except on these guys where it's going to be very obvious. Yeah, it's just wet enough that it just kind of flows into the space, which is very nice. And then on the inside, no such thing, so don't have to worry about it. Here's one of like two guys whose barrel I drilled. I probably just got distracted, honestly. I didn't stop because I intended to. because the barrels are really not a big hassle to work on. It'd be a different thing if I was trying to do some magnetization or something. Yeah, that's the real hell for Tau players, is magnetizing battle suits. Until you start using some 3D printed proxies that already have spaces built into all of the weapons and limbs and backpacks, so that you can swap in whatever you want, add magnets easily. They don't look quite the same, but that's part of the charm. Seeing a slightly different take on the classic form. Some do it better than others. For Tyranids, their shapes are just a little too iconic for me. For the most part, I have a hard time looking at somebody's custom designed Tyranid stand-in and being like, yeah, that's part of the hive. There's just some very key hallmarks that, I don't know, I feel like they could be incorporated pretty easily, but for some reason most people don't seem to do that. Then again, I guess the whole point of designing your own models is making them how you want, so why stick close to principles that, you know, aren't as interesting to you? Heart of stone, just like the tears you never showed. Take what you wanna go. Anything from you. Pumped into. All right, that's everybody's little eyeball thing. So maybe now try to do a little mix here. Feel like we do mostly the electric blue. Feel like maybe a 3-to-1 electric blue and white. It's hard to mix when it's really watery. Oh, that's pretty good. All right, so then we just hit kind of the raised edges as much as possible. This might be a little bit too wet. Into your heart stone. Tears never show. Oh no. I'm picking up shards of sponge now. Try and concentrate in the middle to help sell the glow. Take what you want, take what you need. Alright, and then I'm going to try to also hit the eyes with this mix. Alright. The wings making these little umbrellas is going to make showing it to the camera a little hard. Okay, I need to switch this paper towel over because I don't want to destroy this relatively new brush with a bunch of sponge particles. Alright, let's see if I can get at his little eyes. Oops. Yeah, great big umbrella wings in the way. Which is fine. It's all part of the package. Daydreaming now. Whoops. There I go wandering again. Here's our little poster boy. One thing that I meant to do was mark some spots on this matte grid so I know exactly which areas are in the camera's line of sight. So I can hopefully control my wandering without having to look up and check where I am. Oh, I suppose. There we go. Yeah, it shouldn't be an issue. I gotta hit his eyes. Ooh, this is gonna be an interesting angle. To the minds that I feel wide open. Hitting just the lone bead that is actually their eye is so hard. Oh my gosh. It's very frustrating sometimes. Alright, that'll do for now. Really, what it is most of them just need a couple of passes once they've dried. There we go. That was perfect. See if I can get the little spots in his cranium. is this? Oh, that's fine. You just have to have just the right light, right angle to pick out where that little bead is. All right, this guy missed a whole bunch of his left side. So this is still active enough. All right, so now he's gonna need to dry on that side before I can even do the electric blue. Okay, what's going on here is not very good. So I'm just gonna redo it. And I'm gonna do both sides. Just so it hopefully matches somewhat. All we need is a drama. People who only need a beat. Yeah. All right. So that guy's gonna have to cook a little bit more. I'm gonna let somebody, so let the dancers just want her. You might like to hear my whole gun set right now. And then we go back through the crowd again. Oh, interesting. All right. So yeah, back through the pile. Listen to the voices. All right, that's probably a little bit too much of the white. Call me mystery. Don't be filtered. I'm mystified. Mm-mm-mm. 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 All right. Let's see if I can get this eye a little bit better. I rise above you. Oh, easy. These guys are like those monkey in a barrel toys. They're all latching onto each other all the time. Man, it's too wet. Getting the right consistency is so hard. That's all I want. That's all I want is just to hit that eye. Mm. Oh my god. This is probably punishment for using a brush this size, though. You know? That's probably not what it's for. I do have the little eyeliner brush or whatever it is. It's for these tiny little spaces. See if that does it any better. I'm skeptical though, to be honest. And this guy, I can't even tell where his eye is. And that seemed to work pretty well. Ooh, that's too much. This guy's gonna look extra angry. Going crazy though. Ooh, yeah, this guy really missed the boat on the primer. I'm pretty sure the sculpt is completely different on both sides of the head, because there's just no little bead there. Or if there is, it's like a different depth. Alright, this guy actually got his, so I'm gonna not mess with it too much. Just like a little touch up. This guy's just gonna have a really bright gun too. Why? No specific reason. They don't all have to look the same. Okay. Now I had to replace my cold gray. So my old bottle ran out last session. So I got some new. This is neutral gray. That is not the same. So hopefully it looks all right. That's new. The dropper's a little different too. Comes out quite nicely. I've had all of these paints for years, many years. This is one of those instances where my pack rat tendencies came in clutch. So I still had my paint when I was ready to pick up the hobby again. Alright, I don't really... This guy is the experimental termagant, where I'm trying out using more gray on his skin just to see if I like the contrast of it a little more. So far, I'm not really sold on it. I definitely understand the appeal of having more distinct regions, but I don't want to do that on a bunch of Hormigaunt and Gargoyle swarms, you know? I don't know. It's alright. But I don't think that's something I'm gonna do on the gargoyles. Alright, so gonna get some black. I know that there are a couple of them that need it. Nope, that's not the typical mixing tool. I think it's okay. Now, what I did not do was set aside the guys who needed the tune-up, so now I gotta find them. I mean, I got enough of the black that I can just go through and use it on all of them because they all need it on their wings. But I'd like to get those guys out of the way first. Alright, we'll start with this guy. I'm not gonna get lost in the sauce trying to separate these guys. Whoa. All right. This will hopefully be the most detail intensive part for the gargoyles. It's just separating these black parts. but I don't know what to do. That is bad. Nope, that's the guy we did first. Trying to find a decent comparison, but I guess I've already worked on. We'll see. Let's check that rest of them. Yeah, I think I like the black outline better. It's kind of worried to start off with, but I think the sharper contrast is just nicer. My mind can't take much more. I could never drown. They wanna get my. They wanna get my gold on the ceiling. I just can't go without. They wanna get my gold. This guy has a thoroughly underbaked undercarriage. They wanna get my They wanna get my gold on the ceiling. Before you steal it. Oh, cut myself. Wonder when that happened. Alright, I am gonna do like the tyrant though. We're gonna take these holes in the wings and we're gonna paint those black like dead spots. Just a whole bunch of dead nerves. Until I fade away, when I give up, I give in. Never ends. Somebody needs to complete. Good job, Automod. Mm-hmm. Da-na-na-na. Da-na-na-na. Mm-hmm. 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 Da-na-na-na. All right, I'm gonna readjust here, see if I can get a slightly better sitting position. Oh, why is this so thin, bro? Just give me some pigment. Let's see, that is 4. Oof. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, here we go. Some 40K music. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I am looking forward to mechanic is too. Mostly for the Necron campaign. The Mechanicus are not one of my favorite factions, but I do have a new appreciation for them because of that game. Oh. Hmm. Min is gonna lie there and grumble at me. This guy basically doesn't need it. Got some touch-ups to do. Do these guys that we sponged. So it was very messy, and so that's I'm gonna need a lot of fixing on the carapace. Mm-hmm. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Maybe my favorite piece from that whole franchise. What is this? Where's the other guy who got that treatment? We put in work. The tough part about pulling off a scheme like this is, which I guess would be an indication that I'm not pulling it off, but it's hard to depict progress on it. Like, once all this is done, we'll have made some progress on them, but when I post a picture, they're gonna look basically the same as they did last week. Like, nobody who saw them then and sees them now is gonna be like, oh yeah, all the Batwing lines are picked out now. Of course, there's no rules. I'm sure somebody notices, but most people won't. They'll be able to see it if you point it out. That's okay. Once we get to the end of the road, they'll be able to appreciate the progress. I think I'm gonna do more metallic on these than I did on the batch of Hormagaunts. Just so they have a little bit more, a little stronger visual identity. Go to town saxophone. All right, list. Sure. Your fist and touch the sky. And then we got one more guy who really doesn't have any glow to frame out, so just do some touch-ups on the black here. Thank you, Ron. Well, I don't know what that noise was for. Although I suppose it has now been a couple of hours. Oof. I guess we'll see what it looks like when the varnish is on them. If that helps enough, if it's distinct enough, I'll leave them. If it's not, we'll experiment with the gray again. It just kind of goes against the vision that I had. Yeah, in my mind, I pictured this hive fleet as being basically invisible in the dark until their bioluminescence flickers on, and then there's just a tide of these confusing lights bearing down on you. Or in space, they just look like stars until they're too close to do anything about. I don't really care for this. I feel maybe I used steel on them before instead of gunmetal. Silver, steel. Oh, with apocalypse music is just some of the best stuff there is. Whoa, no. Not asking for a wet blend. Oh, we got these little foot talons. These little vestigial legs. I don't know why these claws have so many freaking angles. Okay, and then this is the first one, right? Yeah. The teeth. for that slightly xenomorph vibe. We'll give him metal teeth. Okay, and then gotta touch up a little bit. And he had some very visible green stuff on his underbelly. Take that. Yeah, she's home, pup. Back from her adventure. So I'm not 100% sure how to approach this tail blade. All right, that'll do it. We are definitely not going to get through all of these right now, but we'll see. See what we get. Not very far, actually. I'm going to do this one more, and we'll call that for the evening. You really expect these little blades to have 3 faces, but they all really have more like 4. I don't know if that makes them, that's just the design, or if that makes them easier to manufacture. I don't think that was directed at me. Oh, I forgot. Adepticon is going on, so there's going to be a bunch of cool model announcements. Exciting. That's going to be fun. Alright, so who was the first guy? Where is he? Here he is. Boom. 2 spiky flutter boys. That was planted in my brain, still remains in the sound of silence. There's the streets I walked alone, and narrow streets of cobblestone. Beneath the halo of a street lamp, I turn my collar to the golden air. My eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light. Split the night and touch the sun of silence. Can't decide what octave to be in. 10,000 people, maybe more. People hearing the Father's name, writing songs that postmen never share. No dare, still the sound of silence. You do not know. Silence like a cancer grows. Take the words that I might teach you. Take my arms that I might reach you. Words like silent raindrops fell. In the well, silent. People bow and pray to the ungodly name, and the sun flashed out its warning, and the bird said it was for me. Said the words of the prophets of on the subway line, in tenement halls, and the sound of silence. They're coming to get you. They're blinding venom and flesh borers. This is a disaster. What's happened here? It's always weird to see stuff that just didn't get hit with primer at all. I'm not sure what the best solution is with these clay bases to avoid this scenario where the deep recesses can't be hit by primer, and so they just end up staying white. I mean, obviously, some super runny paint is a solution. It's the best one, though. I might just go back and forth to some black and then some in like a fluorescent blue, so that there's some glow, sort of. It's like coming out of the ground, like it's terraformed. But that's gonna be all. It's gonna be all for today. Thanks for tuning in. I guess I'll see you when I see you. We'll see what hobbying is like with a newborn. Yeah, it should be fun. But till the next one, take care. This is daftPirate signing off.